Okay, last time we're in Perek Tashi in Mitzvos Hashekulos. Last time we learned the first paragraph about the Adam Sheba Adam, right? We learned about the Adam Sheba Adam. The das of a person is the Adam of the Adam. There's a pasuk in Parashas Bereshis. See if I can find it quickly. Vayivarech Elokim Oisam. Vayivarech Oisam Elokim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mevarech Adam and Chava. Vayomer Lohem Elokim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to them, Pru u'revu u'milu esaretz v'chevshua. Multiply and fill the world and conquer it. Uridu. What does redu mean? What?
Go down.
No. Conquer, dominate. And dominate. Be roide. Ushlutu. Be shailet. The Targum is. Bidgas hayam, and the fish of the sea. Uba'oif hashamayim, and the birds of the sky. Uba'chol chaya harei meses ala oretz, and all animals that crawl on the earth. Says Rav Hutner Zechet Tzadik Levracha, that when it says in the pasuk that Hashem tells Adam to rule over the animals, Hashem is also saying that the Adam Sheba Adam should rule over the Behema Sheba Adam. Right? That's also within us, that tzivu, it's in the Torah. The concept that our seichel should be in charge is wired into the Torah. Just like you as an Adam, we're empowered and given the mandate that you should rule over all the animals of the animal kingdom, so too, the Adam Sheba Adam, the das of a person, rules over all the parts of his body, the Behema Sheba Adam. It's interesting, there's a tzaddik somewhere, in Tzidkas HaTzadik, that says that the truth is that, like for example, it says in Chazal, that someone who's geizel afilu shava pruta mechaveroi is ki'ilu geizel es nafshay. Right? It's as if he kills a person. There's a chazal, there's a tanchuma like that also, that if somebody takes even a pruta from someone, it's as if you killed him. Sounds very dramatic. Why is it like you killed him? So the hesber that's given is that every part of your life, meaning everything that you own, from the shirt that you're wearing, to the car that you may or may not own, to every possession that's yours, and not just possessions, also the people that HaKadosh Baruch Hu put within your domain, like a wife and children, are all things that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave you because your neshama needs them in order to do what your neshama needs to do. So if somebody steals from you, they're taking away something that your neshama needs in order to live. So it's ki'ilu geizel es nafshay. Says Reb Tzaddik, Lamaisa, there is such a thing as animals in this world that are not owned by anyone, like lions and tigers, except the ones in the zoo, but in general, they roam the wild, right? Not all animals are owned. Some of them roam the wild. He says that's because our neshamas are not misukin. Our neshamas are not complete. So there are things in the Bria that are outside the realm of our shlita. But he says when Mashiach comes, it says that the lion will lie down with the sheep, right? I forgot those psukim, I forgot the lashon kodesh. I'm too tired now to remember. But there's lashonos that the ze'ev and the dove, the fox and the bear will be like docile. They'll be like farm animals. So he says that the oimik of that is that our neshamas will be big enough to even be shoyled on them. So that's an interesting thing to think about, that the greater a person's Adam Sheba Adam is, the more shlita he has over himself. The tzaddikim used to have such a shlita even over their thoughts and over their, like the smallest parts of them they had shlita over. We are lucky if we could like riding a rodeo, like those things, like if we could have some grip on ourselves. We already consider ourselves fortunate, but that's the redu b'dgas hayom u'ba'oif hashamayim u'b'chol behema ha'remeses ala oretz, is that the essence of me should dominate over the rest of me, and that's why we've said this before. That's why an adam is b'kaima zekufa and animals are on all four, because animals, their seichel and their impulses are equal. Animals act based on impulse. There's no loy mishpat habechayra. There's no preference of the mind over the impulses. Animals are impulse driven. But people, not all people, but the goal for people is that the Adam Sheba Adam should be the Melech. And that's why we stand B'kaima Zekufa. That's our Maila. We stand B'kaima Zekufa. It's brought down, once I'm talking, it's brought down that every species of the different levels of creation, so Doimeim, Tzomeach, Chaim, Medaber, Yisrael, so each one has one in the lower level that's like the Mekatreg, that says, I'm like you. I'm not going to go into all of them, but it's been said by Shalosh Shudas, we say that dogs have chutzpah. Have you ever heard that? What's the words? We ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu to deal with the kalbin dachatzifin, the chutzpah dogs. Did we talk about it on Shabbos? Oh, yeah, the kalbin dachatzifin, the songs. So, what's the chutzpah of the dog? What's the chutzpah of the dog? So I have a Messiah, and you can find this printed, but I heard it from my Rosh Hashiva, b'shem his Rosh Hashiva, b'shem Rav Hutner, and it recently was printed, that he said the chutzpah of a dog is that the dog thinks that he's like a person. And that's why you find that dogs are man's best friend. And dogs live in houses with people, and sometimes dogs wear cute sweaters, and they go to dog hotels, and they have dog graveyards, and dog psychologists. But it comes from a certain chutzpah, a certain midah. Of course, it's in us, the chisaron also, that there's this idea that the dog says, I'm like you. You live in a house, I could live in a house. In fact, maybe I could even live in your bed. I'm like you. That's the chutzpah of the dog. He's toiveya on the gadlus ha'adam. That's why when Adam was emerging with all of his gadlus, which was at the end of the stay of Klal Yisrael in Mitzrayim, with the Atem Kriyim Adam, Klal Yisrael was emerging, it says, Lo yecharatz kelev l'shaynai. A dog doesn't bark, because the dog's taina was nistam. There's no taina in front of such a great Adam. The dog doesn't think he's like an Adam, when the Adam is that great. Okay? The stature of man is the answer to the taina of the dog. Says the Vilna Gaon, that's the pshat in Chad Gadya, if you were up in the end of the Seder, that we say, V'asa, I'm having too much fun, the asa chutra, the stick came, v'hika lekalba, and it hit the dog. The stick represents the spine of a man, the kaima zakufa. And the kaima zakufa comes, and it's makeh, the dog, meaning as if to say that the stature of man is the response to the taina of the dog. That's the Adam Sheba Adam, because the dog doesn't have an Adam Sheba Adam. Anyway, okay, whatever. That was all taiva. Says the second paragraph, says the Mashgiach. We're talking about being Zaycha, a person being Zaycha to the das of Torah, to being able to to be able to plug into Torah, he says, "V'lav milsa zutrasahi lizkais ledas Torah." It's not a small thing to be zeicha to the das of Torah. HaTorah HaKadoshah, he gilui ritzayna yizbarach. You have to remember that. Torah is not just what we're supposed to do. The Torah is the closest that you could possibly get to Hashem. It's the essence, kaviyachal, if you can even say those words, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is HaKadosh Baruch Hu on some level. That's why the bracha of loving Hashem is the bracha of Torah, of Avarabba or Avasailam. It's the bracha of Torah. It's Hashem. When you learn Yevamis, you're like swimming in Hashem. It's hard to even imagine what that means. Umi yucha lehisyamer. What does lehisyamer mean? What? Lehisyamer. Lehisyamer means to be presumptuous, to be a balgaiva. And who's the balgaiva that could say, Shehu yadeya mahu ratzain Hashem yizbarach, that he knows what Hashem wants, afilu hu yadeya shas, even if he knows the whole shas. But you know what Hashem wants? Haloi ein shir lema'amake ritzainoi. There's no depth. There's no gevul. There's no shir to the depth of Hashem's ratzain. So if we want to say that, not just that we want to learn the Torah, but we want to connect to like what the Rosh Hashiva, if you notice, he says sometimes the ratzain HaTorah, the will of the Torah, what the Torah really wants. You want to do that, we have to know Keitzad Adam Yochal Hagia L'Das Torah. How could a person reach Das Torah? I just have to make a macha. I want to make sure that when we're learning this parak, we don't confuse Das Torah with a political term called Das Torah, where I have to ask Das Torah or it's against Das Torah. That term Das Torah has a lot to discuss. There is such a thing as asking shilas and stuff. I'm not against that at all. There is such a thing. And maybe there's even makom for the usage of the term Das Torah. But that's not the source of the term, and it's not what we mean here. And I'm not knocking it. If anything, I'm saying we don't understand it. Let's understand it. Because Das Torah means, you have to stop and tell yourself, Das Torah means Das Torah. Like what the Torah wants. It's not a political platform. Right? Be very careful about that. You ask your Das Torah, I'll ask my Das Torah. As far as last I checked, there's one Torah. You know what I mean? So I know what it means. It means the one who teaches you the Das Torah and the one who teaches me the Das Torah. We have to be very careful not to confuse it with like a more political, cheap statement. Das Torah here is in capital letters.
He's saying here that even if you know Shas, it's not Das Torah.
He's saying that who could say that they're really truly plugged in a way that their mind is open to absorb its full meaning and its implication. In other words, Gedolei Yisrael were able to learn from the Torah how the Torah would want me to react even to things that are way outside the gvul of those sugyas, because they're plugged into the real das of the Torah. I'll tell you some stories as we go through this parak, but you find by Gedolim sometimes that they learned hayra'os of how a person should act from sugyas that you wouldn't even think of, that's naigeya to this, but they understood like what the Torah is truly telling me. Let's learn what he has to say. He'll lead the way better than I can. Okay, so like we had when we did Kedushas Haguf, there's two ICIs here, and then we'll see what he does with it. HaTorah niknes b'memches dvarim shanimnu b'perek vav de meseches avos. You familiar with the memches dvarim? There are some people memches dvarim. There's in the brisa of Torah that's in the sixth parak of Avos is not a Mishnah. The Pirkei Avos has 5 prakim. The sixth parak is brisas about Torah, and in those brisas about Torah, there's a list of 48 midos. That if you have those midas, you can be zeicha to Torah. Okay? I once heard a beautiful, beautiful thing. I was once in Toronto, and my mother-in-law has a cousin who's a Rav in Toronto. Anyone here from Toronto? It's Rabbi Shmulevitz. You know who he is? He was this Rav Shmulevitz's brother. Okay, anyway, he's a Rav there, he's a Rebbe there. And I was there once many years ago. I don't even know if he remembers that I had this conversation with him. I was there about 29, 30 years ago. And I was in his house, and he told me this word. I don't know why, but it stuck with me. He said that, some say that Eishes Chayil is a song to the Torah. The Eishes Chayil is like the Talmud Chacham who learns Torah. So Eishes Chayil mi yimtza v'rachak mipnina michra. Chayil is gematria mem ches. Eishes Chayil mi yimtza, to find someone who can have all 48 midos, which is like every good midah you could possibly imagine. Mi yimtza, who could find such a thing? And he said b'shem the Gra, that there used to be generations where there were actually people that had 48 midas shatayra niknas b'hem. But nowadays, says the Gra, it's hard to find people that have all 48. And the way that we're zeicha to the whole spectrum of the Kinyan HaTorah is that together we have the 48. Because you have some good midas, and you have some good midas, and you have some good midas, and together we form the 48. Says the Gra, that's the pshat. Rabbis Bonos Asu Chayil. Many daughters made it Chayil. Isn't that great? Rabbis Bonos Asu Chayil. Sometimes that's the way you zeicha to Torah. But in any event, he says there are 48 dvarim. Ve'ein lecha midah toiva shalei nimnis sham. You will not find a good midah that's not counted there. Every midah that's precious is in that list of 48 midahs. Ve'omer Rabbi Yochanan. He quotes from the Medrash b'shem Rabbi Yochanan, Mem ches haflei v'fela, Mem ches pa'amim, kosuv b'Torah be'er be'er. It says the word be'er, a well. It says the word well 48 times in the Torah. Kineged mem ches dvarim shanitna bam Torah. Kineged the 48 midas that the Torah is given with. Hadau d'chsiv, that's what the pasuk means when it says in Shir Hashirim, Ma'ayan Ganim, it's like a spring of gardens, Be'er Mayim Chayim, a well of living water, V'noizlim in Levanon, flowing from Levanon. So, you and I read a medrash like that, we're just like, okay, it's nice poetry. Listen to how the Mashgiach understands what that means. He says like this. He says, Rabbi Yochanan Gila Kan Oy Davar Nifla. Rabbi Yochanan is revealing an incredible thing. Shekol Achas Mimem Ches HaMidos. Each one of the 48 midos that help a person connect with the depth of Torah, he be'er, it's a well. Meaning it's something that you could draw chachma from. Shemimena Shayavim, that from them we draw Mayim Chayim Shal Torah, the living waters of Torah, Umayim Chayim Eila Noizlim Min Levanon, and these Mayim Chayim flow from Levanon, which is up in the mountains. He says, what does that mean? He says, Hainu Me HaMakoim HaElyon Shenitin Lanu Lachshev Olav. The waters of Torah flow from the highest of places, and by you being kaina a be'er, by you having a well of these good midas, you're able to draw the water that's flowing down from the highest of places. V'hu oimek ritzayna yisbarach. These high places are where the depths of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's ratzayin reside. Shalamayla mizeh leis machshava tfisa. That higher than those places, machshava can't grab. V'aser lachshav sham. Like the heights of what a human being is allowed to think about are available to you when you lean into having the midas that a person who learns Torah should be adorned with in order to approach the Torah. In other words, imagine if I teach you a way to think and I give you a puzzle, you'll do better with the puzzle than if I don't teach you how to think. If you have anava, if you have sensitivity, if you have chesed, if you have, emes, all the different midas of the Memches Dvarim, if you have those midas, you're primed to be able to plug in to the depth of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from the Torah. That you see the Gemara and the Rashi and the Tosfos and so on, and you sense even the deepest chachmais that are flowing down from the highest places up to the last place that you're even allowed to think about, because your neshama is completely primed to absorb. You know, like they say that a lot of vitamins, when you take vitamins, they say a lot of vitamins, you're wasting your money, your body's not absorbing them. They're going in and going out. That's what they say about vitamins. So the trick of a good vitamin is that it helps the body digest the vitamins. If your body can't digest vitamins, there's no point in taking the vitamins. So with Torah, the Memches Dvarim helps us digest the Torah. Of course, it's a big mila to learn Torah, even if it goes in and out. There's a medrash that says even if you forget everything you learned, but it went through your system, it purified you. It's like the medrash compares it to a bucket with a hole on the bottom, that when you pour the water in, there might not be any water left, but the bucket is clean. So at least we end up tahar from the Torah, even if nothing stays. But if we have the right digestion of the Torah, then the Torah becomes a part of us. Wow, that's an incredible, unbelievable thing. Okay, I want to stop before I get cut off mid-sentence. We'll finish this paragraph next time.